Welcome to the Autism Spectrum channel. The next video is going to talk about autism on the seas and what benefits that they have. Basically, what it does is they offer free cruise to autism families, not just autism families, but special needs families, period. It could be autism, ADHD, cerebral palsy, you name it. They give out free cruises if you apply and if you're selected to win. Also, they offer respite care, so much stuff. I did a video with one of the staff members and she went over so much information. Make sure that you like and subscribe this channel so that you can get all of the great travel tips for Autism Spectrum Adventures. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Amanda, can you hear me? I'm not sure if you're frozen or not. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I was getting it. It was like needing me to sign into Wi-Fi, and I was like, no, that doesn't
Oh,
have
it's
Wi-Fi.
okay. I always get all
Technology.
twisted around when I'm on these lives. Um, Thank you for coming in tonight. For those who are on and who will be on later listening to the replay, I want to welcome Amanda, and she is from Autism on the Seas, and we're going to be talking about a whole lot tonight. Um,
Yes.
Yes, we're going to take about maybe 45 minutes to an hour to go over a lot of different things and stuff, and everybody will have time to ask questions at the end. So,
Perfect.
without further ado, I want to introduce Amanda, and Amanda is a staff member at Autism on the Seas. So, Amanda, tell me exactly, what you do for Autism on the Seas.
Yes, so I am a group leader, and so we have a team of group leaders that what we do is we are actually the ones that go out with the families on the cruises or resort stays, and so we coordinate the staff and the families while we're on the vacations.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I always post about for Autism on a Season, this is probably why people are on here and they want to hear this, and I know people want to hear this on the replay, is the Dreams Come True grant.
Yes.
So could you tell me a little bit about the grant for getting a cruise and things like that?
Yes, and I'm excited to be able to tell you a little bit more about that because we have had a little bit of restructuring and things in the past from what people may have known about our organization and the foundation itself. And so, Autism on the Seas is a nonprofit. Autism on the Seas is separate from our nonprofit, which is the foundation. So the foundation is the nonprofit part of our organization, and they support Autism on the Seas through grants and donations and things like that. And so the Dreams Come True grant is available for families who need assistance in going on vacations. And so what that provides is a way for families to apply, get on a list, and then be notified when there are grant opportunities available. And then what if they are chosen for the grant, what that covers is the cruise cost, any standard gratuities on the ship, and then travel to and from whatever the departure port is that is available. And so, and then any optional extras like Wi-Fi or excursions or drink packages or things like that are usually at the discretion of the family. Except if there are exceptions made, if somebody specifically donates for a cruise and wants to pay for it all, then it may be a package deal that includes everything. And so that Dreams Come True grant is a way for our families to apply for that. There's usually open periods where we open it up for those applications to, like right now is a closed period, but we anticipate reopening that up to gather more applicants. And so, but you can always join the list to be notified about when that application period opens. And so that's what's available now on our website, on the foundation website, and that's the aotsf.org. And so, so people can go on there to be alerted when the next rollout of applications open up.
Okay. Now, is this for just United States citizens, or because I know cruises leave from different places, can someone from a different country do it if the cruise ship is leaving from
So
that
the
place?
foundation and the grants is specific to the U.S. and Canada, and so yes, other families from other states can definitely travel with us on staff assisted cruises and resort stays. But the actual foundation itself is limited right now to families living in the U.S. and Canada.
Okay. And what cruise lines do you typically work with Autism on the Seas?
Yeah, so if you look at our schedule, and so you'll predominantly see that we partner with Royal Caribbean the most. And so there's a lot of different factors that go play into that. But we also have some Carnival, Norwegian. Occasionally you'll see some Disney cruises on there. And then, we have some resort stays that we do as well outside of cruising. And so and that would be like the Turks and Caicos, and then we do Disney World and things like that. And so mostly cruising, but we do have the occasional resort stay in there as well.
Okay. So could you tell me when for a family like myself who has a child that has autism, how do you assist families on the cruise ship or at a vacation destination?
Yes, so there's lots of different ways in which we serve families while on their vacation. And we always tell families that, we provide you with the service and we provide you with our schedule, and you can do as much as you want with us or you can do as little as you want with us, and you kind of pick and choose what you want of our services. Ultimately, we start at the very beginning by providing some information prior to the cruise. So I myself am a group leader, and so, about 2 to 4 weeks in advance, you start to receive information from us and from the office regarding the cruise upcoming. And so and it could be, and we set up a time to chat with you prior and go over different, especially new cruising families. And so if you've been on several cruises with us and it's old hat to you, then you may not need to talk to a group leader, but especially our new families, set up a time to chat and just go over questions that you may have. Or is there anything that you need to set up ahead of time with the cruise line to make your life easier on the ship and to be serviced better that way? And then for us to get to know the guests that you're bringing that may have needs that we're helping, and so it starts even then. And then we are able to, on day one, when you arrive, we provide expedited boarding, priority, go through the lines, priority check-in, things of that nature. So it just even getting on the ship the first day is, a stress-free event as much as we can make it. And so we meet you as soon as you drop off the car or the luggage or whatever you're doing, we meet you there. And then we walk you through that whole process. So you don't have to wonder, like, how does this even work? You get an extra set of eyes and ears and hands if you need them, to get onto the ship. And then once you're on the ship, we provide meal assistance. And so we're at all meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that could look differently for every family. It could be that we, sit with your child or the guest that needs the assistance while you go get food at the buffet. It could be that, if they have a little bit of independence and they want to go, they just need extra set of hands or eyes and ears on them to make it back to our reserve section. Then we can go with them that way. And then we can also provide assistance if, maybe they eat faster than the rest of the family and they may, want to go get up and walk around or maybe they get a little overwhelmed and overstimulated and need to go on a walk or, change the venue a little bit. And so our staff can take them on a walk, or to the restroom if that's, something that you want or parents and caregivers want us to do. That way they kind of have an uninterrupted meal. And so meal times are special. We also provide some priority access to like events and venues and activities on the ship. And so front of line, many times where you don't have to wait in a long line to access anything such as like water slides or whatever's on the ship. It's amazing what they have on ships these days, and we try to have access to all of those different things. We also provide respite services. So our respite services are when the family can actually drop their child off with us and then go and do something else. And so we have a dedicated space on ships, whether it's a conference room or an extra room that the children's and youth programming has let us use, or an extra cabin on a ship. And so we have a space in which you can drop them off with us, and we have programming in there that would be sensory friendly, and our trained and dedicated staff are there to assist and serve the guests while they're in our care during respite. On a sea day, you get 4 hours of respite, so 2 hours after lunch and 2 hours after dinner. And then on a port day, you get 2 hours after dinner. And so we provide beach excursion assistance as well when we're in different ports. And just there's so many different levels of our service that we can offer. And yeah, like I said, you can do as much or as little as you want with what we offer.
Great. So I know, I mean, my son, he's been on probably about 15 cruises, and
Mhm.
I know that checking in can be overwhelming. So I'm going to go back to that because you said
Yeah.
with the priority boarding. So how would that look? I mean, I'm guessing you have a dedicated line or something like that. How does that look
Yeah.
for someone who's coming there for the first time? And, I'm
Mhm.
trying to paint a picture because I know I've seen ridiculous lines to check in, and it's very, very, very overwhelming.
Depending on the port and the time in which you arrive, yeah, it can get very overwhelming even for somebody who doesn't normally get overwhelmed, right? So, um, we we have our team members. We call ourselves Team Orange. We are wearing orange, and so there's really no way you can miss us unless you have a large family cruise that also decided to wear all orange T-shirts. But we're there in orange. We're labeled, and we typically, if we are able, to have balloons or pennants or something of that nature, so you can definitely see us also. But we catch your attention before you ever enter into the port or the terminal area. And so we connect with you there. We assign somebody to go through that process with you. And we've also talked to a port supervisor or a peer supervisor there to set up a line in which we can bypass. And so it could be that we're going through the priority line where, suites or members or, higher level members have gone through, but, and so we go through that line as well. It could be that they have somebody dedicated when they see us coming in that they're like, this, you come here, and we bypass a line altogether. We still have to go through the normal security procedures and, go through check-in and things like that, but we're able to kind of expedite that process and go through. And then we're able to kind of, give them feedback give the staff there on the ground feedback as to how the individual would operate best. Do they need to stay in their stroller and get a pat down versus having to get out of their stroller and walk through the metal detector or something like that? And so we're able to assist with those things as well, and just give parents and caregivers the peace of mind knowing that, somebody is going to walk them through this whole process and show them where to go next. So they're not like, I don't know where to go. And I'm also trying to keep up with this, my kid. And so all of those different things. And so, and then we're able to get you on the ship and kind of walk you through what's the process once you're on the ship. Like, I got to go to my muster station and find that and do a safety check to make sure they, know I've done that and I'm on the ship. And then I need to go eat. And where is that? Where do I go eat? And so just being able to have somebody that's there that can be like, oh, you're on this floor. You need to go here at the back. And so it's just easy. It just makes it so much easier to have somebody there for support.
That's great. So I know that a service is provided for a child. Now, do you also do it for adults as well?
Yes. So we provide services really for anyone with a diagnosis from the age of 2 all the way up. And so we if they do not, we also, siblings are allowed to come into respite and to do the activities and events, but typically we take siblings over the age of 3. But those with diagnosis, it's 2 and up. And so we have adults, we have adult groups that have come on cruises before as a group together. But really, yeah, any age is available to utilize our services. And then really any I know we are branded as Autism on the Seas, but we really take any developmental disability or any diagnosis that requires a special need above and beyond what maybe the cruise line could offer.
Great, because I know that was a question as well, because some people may have a child that have another diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
or an adult, because as you know, the diagnosis doesn't stop at age 18. It still,
Yeah.
goes on. So a lot of people wanted to know. That was one of the questions that I saw in here about whether or not it would be covered for adults as well.
Yes.
So, and you said for respite, siblings are welcome to come as well, as long as they're ages 3 and up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so
Okay.
we take siblings as well in respite, and so it's a way for families to, get a full break if they wanted. Siblings are also able to go to any of the kids and youth programming that they have on the ships through the cruise lines, and even the guests that are in our care, the special needs guests are able to go into those places and try those out. And so if they choose, but we have our respite all the time, and they're able to come in with us and know that there's not going to be any kind of limitation or any that we have less restrictions in our respite, such as we don't require that they have to do a specific activity or stay at a specific activity for a certain length of time before moving to another activity. And then the toileting issue, and so a lot of times the kids clubs require that they have to be toileted, or that if they do have to go, or if they're in a diaper or something like that, then if they have an accident, that they immediately call the parents. And so to have them come pick them back up, or if they have a behavior moment, then the parent has to come and get them. And sometimes, depending on how extreme it is, they're not allowed to come back into that kids club or that area. And so with us, we don't have those same limitations, and we are able to do toileting if the family wants, and we're able to provide those services to give the family an uninterrupted period of time where they have respite services. So,
And that's important because a lot of people, of course, we still, even though our children may have autism, we still want to vacation with them and have a
mhm,
good time. And we don't want to feel like our kid is being singled out and they can't enjoy the fun because they had a meltdown or something like that. So this is
mhm,
excellent that this service is offered. And that's why I'm glad that you came on here tonight, because I want other parents to know that it is possible, that
mhm,
you can do this. Like I mentioned before, you have the Dreams Come True grant, and I
mhm,
think someone asked, is this available outside of the grant? Yes, it is available outside of the grant. This is, I mean, I know a lot of people want to hear about free stuff first. That's why I
yeah,
mentioned that
of
first.
course.
But Autism on the Seas is a service that's offered on a variety of different ships, not
Mhm.
not all ships, right? But
Yes, not all
could you talk
ships. Yeah.
about, like what is it, select ships? How would they be able to find the ships that offers the sailings with Autism on the Seas? And if it's not on there, if it's not on the list, can they request it?
Yes, so we have a list on our website, autismontheseas.com, and you can go to the schedule and see all the way through 2027 what we have available right now as staff assisted. And what that means is we will have a team on board that ship to assist you through the activities. And so, and there is at the bottom of that list, there is a requested list. So we have families that are like, they look at our schedule and they're like, I don't have anything that coincides with what I want, with what I can do through my job or time off or anything like that. But if they're looking on, let's say, the Carnival website, and they're like, I see this cruise that I could do, and I would love to get more families involved. And if I could get a certain amount of cabins booked, then I could get that cruise staffed. And so, depending on the amount of time, so if it's like, oh, if it's a year out, you need a certain amount of cabins in order to make that a staffed cruise, and families will put in a request for that. And you may see in there that there may be a cruise that you're like, oh, I want to do that, and they only need 2 more cabins, and we could get 2 cabins and make that a staffed cruise, and that's available as well. And so there's options there to have a cruise staffed if it's not already. And so yeah, so there's lots of different options there. But we have I mean, on average, about 1 to 3 cruises going out from ports all across the nation every week. So there is a lot of opportunity for staffed cruises, hopefully in your area, whatever your home port would be, your closest port.
Got it. And I just saw a question pop up, so I'm just going to ask it right now
Yeah,
because I
for sure.
think people want to know. It said, is it one group leader per family or a shared group member with multiple families?
Yeah. So I can talk about the staffing. So there is typically, based on group size, we can have anywhere from 4 to 40 families on a ship. So contrary to popular belief, we don't take over a whole ship and, fill it with all of our families, but we can have anywhere from 4 to 40 families. And so on average, we usually only have one group leader, and then that group leader has a team of staff, general staff. And within that staff, you could have some staff members that are considered one-to-ones. And so we have a general ratio of 2 special needs guests to one general staff member. But some families choose to go a little bit of a step above and have a one-to-one, which means they have a dedicated staff member to their family. It gives them the flexibility to be able to do different activities apart from our schedule. If we, like, let's say they know their child does not want to do like rock climbing or something like that, and if it's on our schedule, then they can use their one-to-one to go do something else that their child may want to do differently at that time. But if they don't have a one-to-one, then they don't have that flexibility to be able to do that typically, because we may not have the ability to split our ratio and send somebody with them to do something alternative. And so there are options to have that one-to-one ability as well. But so we have that 2-to-1 ratio, and we always carry that on every cruise. And so you would have the ability to have those general staff do shared care at all events, activities, and respite.
Okay, great. So someone asked another question. Can I still request respite if I book through the regular website in days? I'm not sure if it has to be done through Autism on the Seas.
Yeah, so any of our staff assisted cruises include respite. And so that's, you are what you're getting as a service is respite. And so we are not on all cruises, and so it's only our staff assisted cruises that we offer those respite services. And so apart from those, we are there are services that you can get if you choose to cruise without Autism on the Seas on the ship. But those are usually like reserved seating, priority boarding, things like that. But we would not have a team on board that would be able to provide services to you.
Okay. And so someone asked a question about passports, but I mean, it all depends. I mean, I can probably answer this question because I
Mhm.
cruise a lot.
Yeah.
So with, what, if you're leaving from, the same country, you
Mhm.
most likely won't need a passport. You need a birth certificate.
Mhm.
If you're leaving from the same country, returning to the same country. So that
Yeah.
means if I'm leaving from Miami and I'm cruising the Caribbean and I'm coming back to Miami, then I don't need a passport. I do have a passport. My son has a
Mhm.
passport, and my husband as well. But it's not a requirement.
Yes.
So someone was asking about that. I'm not sure how it's in Canada, but I know that's how it
Yeah,
is in the
usually
United States.
in the U.S., it's they consider it a closed loop cruise where you're leaving
Yes.
from one and coming back, and it's not a requirement. We don't require it. We highly recommend it only because if you're going to a country and something happens there, and you have to, unfortunately, if you had to return from that country or stay there to return back and you couldn't get back on the ship for whatever reason, it was a health matter, a medical matter, physical, whatever, then that would be a little bit more tricky without a passport. And so for those situations, we always say, you just have to think of the, unthinkable and maybe potentially get one for those purposes. But you're right, you don't have to have one in those closed loop for most of the countries that you visit. So.
Right. Someone was asking about posting a list of the cruises, but it's actually on the website. I can't do it on here. It's
Mhm.
on the Autism on the Seas website, and
There's a
actually,
schedule tab, and you can go to
yeah,
the schedule tab, and it lists all of them there.
yes. Um, and I know this. So I want to go back to a lot of people were asking about the grant because that's what I
Mhm.
wanted to lead with.
Yep.
But you can also get this as a paid service.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Mhm. Yeah, so there's multiple ways that you can book. You can book through your own, you can use your travel agent. We are very travel agent friendly. We work with travel agents on getting you the support that you need. And so you can book with your travel agent. And so they would just need to then coordinate with our office. And so you can also book directly through the cruise line. And either way you go, we need to transfer over the reservation to Autism on the Seas within about 20 days. And so when you book, you got to transfer it over in order to get the services and things like that added. And then to have it kind of under our umbrella. And so it is identified by the cruise line as being under our umbrella as well. And then you can also book directly with Autism on the Seas. We are also a travel agency, so we can book it. You can book it direct through us. And at any time, anybody can go on our website and request a quote. And so what you see is you can go on you can go on Royal Caribbean or whatever cruise line you're looking at, and you can look at the pricing that the cruise line there is offering right then. And if they're offering some kind of special, a lot of times, they don't really do discounted cruises anymore, but they do like package deals or like it comes, with, this or internet or, whatever. And so if they're offering a deal, then we honor those deals as well. And so, but then you could go and put in those dates and the cruise information, and then you would get a quote back that also included our service fee. So you would kind of know what the total would be for that trip. And then just like any other cruise, if you notice, if you're like, looking at these cruises again and you see, oh my gosh, there's been a price drop, I want that new price, you can also reach out and get and have that new price adjusted for your cruise, just like you would with a travel agent or just like you would yourself. So
Okay. Great. So, and I know that, the cruise line that I see listed the most is Royal Caribbean.
mhm.
And I actually, when I first heard about Autism on the Seas last year, I actually thought it was like something with strictly Royal Caribbean, but then I found out you
Yeah,
work with Carnival, and so I was like, oh, okay. I think I saw a Norwegian there. I'm not sure, but I know I
mhm.
definitely saw Royal Caribbean listed a whole lot.
Yeah,
And because it's on the seas, so that's
mhm.
how kind of sort of like Royal Caribbean is listed. But someone asked right here, has Autism on the Seas sail into the Caribbean? But so that's not the name of the ship. The ship will be just like the icon.
Mhm.
They have Autism on the Seas staff on the icon of the sea.
Mhm.
It's not the name of the ship. So
Yeah,
someone was asking about that. I think people, because I don't want people to
yeah,
think that is they're looking for an Autism on the Seas actually cruise ship, just like
yeah.
icon.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Right, I know,
But
right.
no, yeah. So for example, we have a team right now on the Utopia of the Seas, and so we have a team with families that are on the ship, and so, and yes, you're right. We do have more cruises through Royal Caribbean, and so pre-COVID, we were operating on a lot more of the ships and kind of had more of an equal spread. Still a lot more with Royal Caribbean, but you would see a lot more of the other cruise lines in there. And then after returning back from COVID, we really focused in on coming back with one cruise line because we wanted like one person, one cruise line's restrictions and rules and regulations, and come back to that. And then we've started reintroducing the Carnival cruises and the Norwegian cruises and things like that. And really as demand. And so as families are requesting other cruise lines, we start to make sure that works, because there are certain accommodations that we really need to have on a ship in order for us to have our services there. And so you'll notice, like, I think the website will list off like things that we really need in a specific ship in order to have our services on that ship. We can be pretty flexible with some of our spaces, but we really need the ships to be accommodating in certain ways. And so, if they don't have any extra spaces for us to hold respite, then it may not make sense for us to have our services on that particular ship. So it may be that you're like, oh, this is my favorite ship, but if they don't have space for us to conduct some of our services, it may not make sense for us to be on there.
Right. And I know one of the questions that I get, because I post about cruises quite often because we
Mm-hmm.
cruise a lot. Some people are just straight up afraid to go because they're like, oh, I can, I can never take my autistic child
Mhm.
on a cruise, and they're afraid. Do you get that with some of the parents feeling very apprehensive when they have their child on this vessel sailing the seas, and they're a little nervous that their child may elope or something like that? How is that handled? If
Yeah.
that is a question.
Very much so. I'll tell you, as a group leader that talks to families prior to the cruises, especially our new families, that is a huge fear for them. And so a lot of times I have to kind of talk them, talk them down from, they're like, I don't know if we should do this, like we should just cancel, and so they're kind of in a panic mode as they get closer and closer to the cruise, just saying, this is, I don't know how this is going to work. And so we have a lot of mechanisms into place to make sure that that everyone is as safe as possible. And so the cruise ships themselves also have things into place, especially on open decks. They have, a lot of times they have plexiglass walls, or they have ways in which they try to make those open decks as safe as they can. We ourselves try to avoid as much open deck time as we can. Of course, there are a few places where, some of the pools are on open decks, but they also have, windows that can be closed or plexiglass walls that reach up. I mean, you would have to then climb onto something else to climb over to get, to get over and out. So there are obstacles in place. Our staff are, during those pool times, are positioned. We have staff in the pool, we have staff on the deck, we have staff positioned in a way to where if we have somebody that would elope, that we would be there, right there. And so, our staff is highly trained. They're all skilled in doing this in their daily lives, through whether it's their work that they do every day, or if they're retired, they've been doing this for a long time. And so so we have those into place as well. And so we just tell families that we always have staff available for you at our scheduled activities and events, that are there as another set of eyes, ears, arms, and so that can assist you through those things. And then you always have community around you, and times where you may not be with us. You may be having family time or things like that, that if something happens, then you can be on the phone immediately and we assemble our team. So.
Okay, great. And someone asked, she said, I would love to take my family on a cruise, but my son is the only neurodivergent one. Can my family go? And it's open to everybody. The
Yes,
autism one is, yes, because it's going to
it
be a
is.
regular cruise that
Yeah.
anybody can be on this cruise ship.
Yes, anybody can
Yeah.
be. And what I would say to that also is, um, yeah, the whole family is able to participate in any of the activities and events that we have. Respite is, of course, we're gonna, we'll take the guests, but we kick the parents out. So we've had parents that were like, "Well, can we have a parent respite?" And we're like, "Get out of here!" And so, but they love it so much. They're like, "We want to come and play. Can we have parent time?" And so, but then we have others that are like, "Can y'all have a sleepover with the kids?" And we're like, Come get your kids after respite." But and so, but it becomes like a big family. We just love it. And so, I it's for the whole family. Siblings, like I said, can come into respite services, but the family members can participate. And in some of the events and activities, are sometimes the child may not want to participate, but maybe the sibling or the parents do. And so that's a way that our staff can also assist and serve the family, is we can sit with the child while they participate. Maybe they do want to do rock climbing. Maybe they do want to do the flow rider and do the, boogie boarding or whatever. And so, but a lot of times they wouldn't be able to do that because they don't have anybody to sit with their other kid or to walk around with their other child, the one with the, special needs. And so it's a way for them to be able to experience those things as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a big help. I mean, we only have one, so it's easier for us to maneuver.
Yeah.
But if it was two, I could only imagine, how the service would be a lot better for parents with multiple children.
Mhm.
Um, so besides the cruise, where else do you do that's land? I think you mentioned a resort that you guys are affiliated with that you would assist with?
Yes, so there are a few resort stays, and so I was trying to look myself because I was like, when is that coming up? And so we actually have one coming up, Turks and Caicos. It typically is in October, but like we said, some of it is based on demand. And so if families say, hey, if enough families said, hey, we want to go in September, we would then book it in September. But the next one, Turks and Caicos, the resort stay, is in October. And so that's a beaches resort that we partner with there, and so that's a really neat activity or resort stay that we offer. And then we have our in November of this year we have a Disney World resort stay, and so those are similar in nature, except for a lot of times on those resort stays we staff it a little bit differently, but where because a lot of the families may choose to go, especially at Disney World, for example, they may choose to go all different directions. There's 4 parks there, 2 water parks. So it's like they may choose to go to Magic Kingdom, whereas another family may go you know, to Animal Kingdom or something. And so they don't all have to go to the same parks on the same day. So we have one dedicated staff member that would go with them into the parks if they so choose. And so they use that staff member how they want, like a one-to-one service. But on resort stays, they get that service as a part of the resort stay.
Okay.
Whereas the cruise, it would be a little bit extra to get that service. The resort stay, it just kind of comes standard because it only makes sense that we have somebody with them
Right.
and in the parks and things. So
Got it.
yeah,
So I want to ask a question about is respite service? I'm going back on the cruise. So
okay.
is respite service included off of the cruise? So if it says as in when the vessel stops at port, there are activities off the ship. Is respite service included?
So we do have what we call staff assisted like excursions. And so there are certain ports that have the availability to where we've identified that there is a safe and accessible and affordable place that we can go as a group. And families can choose to do that or they can do their own excursion if they want. But if they choose to go on our staff assisted excursions, then they would come with us and we provide staff assisted services. And so what that means is at least one family member has to be present at those activities and events. And so we don't take them off on our own, or you can't leave the ship and leave them with us at that time. The ship really, they don't allow that anyway. And so, so respite off the ship is not, it doesn't really look like a respite where you would leave them with us, but it is staff assisted on certain days. There are other ports that we don't have staff assisted excursions because, maybe there isn't something that we have found that was either accessible or affordable or safe. And so, but if you choose to do something on your own, you can always request to have a staff member to go with you. Whether that's just walking around the port and looking at the shops and things that they have, but you can always request that service as well if you needed an additional, person there.
Okay, great. And I know you mentioned Disney. You're referring to Disney resorts, not the Disney Cruise Line. Disney Cruise Line is not a
Yeah, so
part
we
of.
have we have in the past done Disney Cruise Line, but yes, we were talking before it was Disney Resorts.
Okay. And for someone asked a question about the resort stay,
Mhm.
is that also on the Autism on the Seas website?
Yes, it's included in the schedule. Yep.
Okay, it's on the schedule.
And when
Okay.
you click on, if you go into that schedule tab, when you click on pricing, info, and booking, it tells you all about it. And so, yes, but those resort stays, it would have under it resort stay for, it'd say Turks and Caicos resort stay, and all the others are cruises. And so, but those you'd be able to single them out as resort stays.
Okay, great. Um, so now I'm gonna, try to get this wrapped up. And if anyone has any last questions, please ask them. So we're gonna do this quick recap. We talked about the Dreams Come True, which is the cruise grant. You can find that on the Autism on the Seas website. Right now it is closed, but I highly suggest and recommend that you sign up so that when it does come available, you will get a notification about that. I actually signed up myself and I did get a notification. So I just wanted to make sure I'm telling you the right information. So it does work.
Good job.
So yeah, so I wanted to make sure everybody has that information. This will be posted as a replay for those who missed the beginning of it, because I know sometimes, even for me, like my son goes to bed and he's getting ready for bed now. My husband's getting upset. So I know some people, they can't get onto the live. So a lot of times they'll come back and they'll watch the replay. So this will be on as a replay for those who missed it. Autism on the Seas is a service that's available to not just families who have autistic children, but to families who have children who have disabilities and who adults who have disabilities. It's a service that's provided on cruise ships, select cruise ships, and it's on select resorts. You can just go to their website and check it out. I will post the link when I do the replay so that you can check it out. So that if you have any questions or concerns, and I know somebody asked a question about they had booked it prior, I think during COVID or something like that, if they're still on. You can always go back to the Autism on the Sea website, and you can send them a message, or get contact them with any questions that you may have about this. And you did say if a travel agent were to book a cruise and it is one of the it's one of the Autism on the Seas cruises, then you can pull that reservation and they can get services if they so desire to get additional services
Yes.
on the cruise ship. So great. So they have the grant, and you can also get this service if you want to pay out of pocket for additional services if you're not selected for the grant. So I mean, you have options there. So I'm just doing a quick recap,
Yeah.
and I'm like looking for questions and stuff like that. So I've answered pretty much all of the questions
I
and
think
stuff like
too,
that.
you mentioned like you could make an inquiry through the website, for any information, including pricing, booking, things like that, a quote. You can also request to have a parent. We have a parent-to-parent connection where you can request to talk to somebody that's been on a cruise and has from a parent perspective. I can tell you from my own perspective and being a group leader, but there's something special about hearing from somebody who's actually done this, and somebody who maybe had the fear going in and then came out on the other side and said, we never thought this would be possible. And this was the best thing that we've ever done, things like that. But can then give you, then they can give you, insight as to little, tips and tricks and, things that they did to maybe make it easier for them that, maybe we don't even know because we didn't see that, leading up prior. But it's a great way for you to connect that way as well. So that's something you can request also if that's something you want.
Great. And someone asked about getting services. Do you request it before the cruise? I'm assuming that you would have to request that to have Autism on the Seas to
Yeah,
service
so
you.
you would need to, if you book directly through us, then you're booking a staff assisted cruise most likely already. But if you're booking it through the cruise line or through your travel agent, it needs to be transferred over to us within 20 days. And so 20 days of that booking to ensure that you get the staff cruise, because at that point, depending on how much time it is until you cruise, we would need to identify staff that could go on the cruise and get them, get a cabin for them and things like that. So there's so many layers that go into getting those staff on that cruise once you've booked. And that's why we need that kind of shorter window of time to be able to, transfer it over to us. So.
Okay. And last question here is it's actually two questions about the grant is how many people are typically selected for the grant a year? How often are the grants given out in a year? How many families would you say receive
So
a
I
grant?
wish I could tell you the most up-to-date information, but since the kind of restructuring of our foundation and grant system, it's a little bit different. And so we don't have the up-to-date data on that based on this new Dreams Come True program. And so I'm not real sure the actual, like, what is the projected amount of families that they intend or hope to give grants to. I will tell you, of course, that all of our grants are funded by donations. And so the amount of donations and fundraisers, like, for example, we have a t-shirt fundraiser right now that somebody designed the t-shirt graphic, and then they were selling t-shirts. And so those funds go back into the foundation to assist for these grants. So, any of the monies that we generate from fundraisers, from donations go into the grants. So a lot of times it is going to be based on the donations and based on how much money we make that we're able to then give. And so with the new restructuring of the foundation and the way that we're modeling that now, there's kind of a 5-year plan that's going to be put into place and into really upping the fundraising in order to be able to provide more and more families with full grants to be able to go. So, I it's a smaller amount. I think like so far this year, I don't think it's more than 20. And so, but we're only into
20,
September.
20 grants.
20 total, yeah.
Well, that's a
And so
lot.
that's full cruise, gratuities, and all
Yeah.
of those things too. But they're really looking to, like I said, increase the reach of that. And so we're really excited about where the foundation is moving to be able to then help more and more families. So
Yeah. 20 is a
yeah, good.
20 is actually a good
Yeah.
number.
So
Um, yeah, so that's pretty good. I don't know what's the most you guys have had in the past, but 20 is definitely, I mean, we're in September. I think that's pretty
yeah,
good,
yeah.
so I don't
So.
know.
And
But I
I
know
do know
that's
that they are anticipating opening another cycle before the end of the year. So you should see that cycle open up for applications again. So
wow. So guys, make sure you sign up for that grant. I did not know
yeah,
this, so that's why you hear the shock
yeah.
in my voice right now because I didn't
No, you're
I
good.
think that's a lot. 20, 20
Yeah,
grants for a cruise. Please sign up. I listen, as I always tell you, you're welcome. Make sure that you sign up for that.
yeah,
Get on a list. If you so desire, and I think that's a great opportunity.
yeah.
And if you don't need the grant, feel free to donate.
Oh,
She said
always.
it's
Yeah,
a t-shirt. They're doing some t-shirt thing right
yeah. And they're
now.
always coming up with different
So
fundraising ideas.
yeah,
So
fundraiser. Yeah, a t-shirt fundraiser. By all means, sign up for. I mean, you can
yeah,
donate like that, or definitely sign up for the grant if it's something that you're interested in. If it's something that you want to do with your kids. So, like I said, 20. I think that's a lot.
yeah.
To me, that's a lot. But
And I think I saw a question pop up in
oh,
there about who does that cover? And it is the immediate family that it covers. So it covers those costs for the immediate family that would be traveling on that cruise. So
that's amazing
yeah.
right there. That is amazing, guys. But we're gonna wrap it up because we're just over the 45-minute mark.
Mhm.
And again, this is gonna be available for a replay. Amanda, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you doing this live with me tonight. A lot of people I know are gonna watch this later and they're gonna have questions. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be reposting this, and they're gonna have questions, and it's going to help a lot of families out. And I really thank you for this opportunity to be able to share this information
Mhm.
so that people who have children who have autistic children and people who have special needs children and
Mhm.
adults that they have this opportunity available to them. This is another resource available to us. So please use your
Yeah.
resources, everybody. So
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing what you do, and
oh, no
thank you
problem.
for letting us reach out and come on your
Yeah.
page. So
Listen, I'm always, for me, it means more to me to give the resources. It makes
mhm.
me feel good. It's not even about deals. It's
Yeah.
about letting the people know. I like to help people, so
Mhm.
it makes me feel good to help somebody else out.
Yeah.
That's just what I like. I get a rush from doing that. So, and if you don't know what that feels like, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's me. So I want the people to know. I just found out about it last year, so now other people know about it.
Yeah.
I will post guys who's asking questions and stuff. I'm going to post everything on this replay so that you have all of the information. And I want you to please, if nothing else, sign up for the grants. Put your name on the list. You just told me
Yeah.
that they've done 20 this year. It's September, so that's a lot, and it
Yeah.
covers, covers families and stuff like that. So, but thank you again for your time, and
Yeah.
and I will be talking to you later.
Yes, well, we hope to see some of these viewers on a future cruise join our Autism on the Seas family. So,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
all right, thank
All right,
you.
good night.